This is a special holiday series featuring daily solo episodes and conversations with the speakers, panelists, founders, authors, and trailblazers you'll experience inside the Align Awaken 2026 room in San Diego. These are leaders, men and women who are redefining success through alignment, purpose, and courageous action. If something stirs in you as you listen, trust that. And consider this your invitation to join us live at Align Awaken, January 22nd through the 25th, where these conversations move from audio to real-world, real-life transformation. Welcome to the Brooke Hemingway Show, where it's all about living a revolutionary life. Each week, I'll be uncovering stories, deep diving into topics, and truth-telling to help you live a life in alignment, defy the odds, and turn your divine dreams into epic realities. We'll be redefining your approach to life and business, breaking away from old habits and self-limiting stories, and blazing a new trail for your future. If you know it's time to turn your world upside down and experience a profound and radical change, you're in the right place. A whole lot of soul and a dose of strategy and straight talk come in each episode. So get ready. It's time to lead a revolutionary life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast today. If you've been listening along to this series, you know it is full of fire. And today's guest comes with so much experience and wisdom. I'm so excited to welcome Kendra Cook to the podcast today. Let me tell you a little bit about her before we dig in. Kendra is an inspiring and tactical speaker who has been captivating audiences nationwide for over 20 years. Through her authentic and relatable stories, she empowers individuals ready for change, sharing how she navigated personal and professional challenges to achieve success. Whether addressing a small team or a large organization, Kendra delivers actionable strategies that drive lasting impact. She teaches audiences how small, intentional adjustments can lead to a major improvement in productivity and performance. With over 30 years as a high-level real estate professional, she's weathered every market shift and faced the risk of losing it all. The systems and structures she developed for her own business are now used across various industries. As a business coach for over 15 years, she's helped countless professionals streamline operations, implement effective processes, and build winning teams. She's a master at hiring the right people, training them for success, and fostering a thriving community within company culture. She exemplifies the saying, which I love, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. Amen. Kendra, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you so much, Brooke. I am excited to be here.
Well, it's so true. Like if you want something done, you've got to take it to a busy person. And I'm suspecting that as you built your career, your 30 years in real estate and then 15 years of coaching individuals in various professions, that you have always been quite busy and had quite a full schedule. Yes?
Yes, very much so. Yes. And didn't always do it right. Then, when you do it wrong for so long, then you have to figure out a system of the way to do it right. So,
right. I think we all start a little bit messy. Mm-hmm. And so for those individuals listening, lots of entrepreneurs, lots of creatives, people trying to build their first business or scale their existing business, they might be in the messy middle where they're just being super scrappy and throwing things together. Talk to them about like moving into 2026 and choosing to have more peace, choosing to have more systems. If you could go back to the younger version of yourself that was a little bit messy and scrappy, what would you say 2 or 3 of the most important things they could do to kind of scale without the stress would be for them?
Yeah. So for me, I used to think my brain was so great and I could just remember everything. I'm like, I don't forget anything. It's all up here until I forget something very important, right? So I would say step number 1, and you hear this all the time, but live and die by your calendar. Like I cannot function without organization in my calendar. And so when I'm training people, they laugh at me. They're like, you have bathroom breaks in there. And like today I have a 45-minute break for lunch and I want to sit outside. I live in Florida. It's beautiful here, and it's shaded, but it's set up like a living room and a screened-in porch. And so I just go there, eat my lunch, and it said lunch break, 45 minutes. I work from home. You still have to pencil those things in. So I would say live and die by your calendar. None of us are great enough to keep it all up here. It's okay to give yourself permission to go get a calendar. Number two, I would say anything that you can outsource. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not talking about hiring somebody. This will go to the moms. I used to think I had to make the cupcakes and everything had to be perfect. And, we couldn't use a grocery business to pull our grocery items off the shelf. That's outsourcing, right? So look at things that are a time suck, things that take you away from your highest and best use of your time, whether that's with your family or in sales or in marketing or whatever you're doing, a podcast. You can outsource a lot of things now that really don't cost us a whole lot of money, but it gives us a lot of peace. And number three, I would say you cannot be all things to all people. And so the key to that is no is okay. No is a complete sentence. And so there are going to be times in your career that you're going to want to say yes to everybody, yes to all the volunteer positions and yes to all the parties. But no is a complete sentence, and I've heard people say a lot of times when you say no, but, or no, because you're really selling yourself on it's okay to say no. And I highly agree with that. I think when I just say no, because all you heard, Brooke, was no. You didn't hear my because, you just heard, I'm not going to do what you asked me to do. And that's okay. Right. And so I think those are probably the three things that really started making me be cognizant of everything around me and getting more done in less time and eliminating a lot of that messy stuff. Because when you're late, what do you have to do? You have to call and apologize. And when you're staying up late and you're crabby to your family the next morning, you got to apologize. And when you bite an employee's head off because you put too much on your plate, it's just we can eliminate a lot of that.
Yeah. And it catches up to you, going through these three, you can't be everything to everyone. No is a complete sentence. It's also like choose your best yeses. Right. And your best yeses are going to be the things that advance you in your career and your business and that support your family and your own health. And if it doesn't do some of those things, then it's very easy to say no. It's just that people pleasing. So, speak to maybe that version of you, like if you could go back, maybe you had a version of you that was really concerned about what other people thought, or you wanted to please, or you wanted to be a good girl. There's a lot of people listening, mostly women, that still really have a hard time saying no, and they don't think it's affecting them. But what are some ways that it really is going to affect them over the long term as they continue to say yes to all these things that are on their list?
Yes. Well, I was all of those things and sometimes still find myself there. Let's just be honest. But for me, it took hitting rock bottom, really. One of my claim to fames, and it's not a good one, but I used to sneak out of bed at night and leave my family to go back to my office because my husband had asked me to remove my computer from our home so I would be present when I was there. Mm-hmm. And so I battled the guilt of I'm not taking care of my family when I'm at work and I'm not taking care of my work clients when I'm at home. And so I don't know where that thought came from. Obviously, it was the devil, but I was driving home one day and it was like, hey, everybody in your house sleeps like a rock. You could just sneak out and go back to the office and get work done. And no harm, no foul. You're not taking people, time away from the people you love and you're serving your clients. And so I played that game with myself for a long time until I got caught and by my husband. And that was when the ultimatum came, you figure it out or I'm out. And so I had to do things a lot of different ways. And so my rock bottom was there, but I continued to plummet further. I was so unhealthy. I was so unhappy. I was overweight. I was not sleeping. I couldn't keep help because my expectations of them were so ridiculous because the expectations of myself were so ridiculous.
Yes.
And so my standards were just ridiculous and no way anybody could reach them, not even myself. And so I had to hire some help, somebody to help me really dig in just before I bankrupted my family because I was so busy being busy and saying yes. I wasn't paying attention to finances and I wasn't paying attention to my health. And I jokingly say, I don't think my son knew who I was till he was 6. And that was because I worked all the time, and until I figured out a better way, when I was at home, I really wasn't home. My mind wasn't there. I was running in and out of my office to fax something. I mean, that's how old I am. But, you get in your office and it's one more phone call and it's one more text and it's one more email. And before you know it, you've been in there 3 or 4 hours and everybody's gone to bed,
Yes. Yes.
So the piece I would tell people like that is, A, we have to manage our time better, but B, boundaries are so good for us.
Yes.
And you know what? When you really are good at what you do, people will wait. And that's, I try to use this as an analogy. If you call the doctor's office and you've got a runny nose, they're like, you can come tomorrow at 2 or Friday at 6. Those are the only options. And we wait.
Yes.
And women, you are just as important. Entrepreneurs, we are just as important as our doctors in our field that we're called to be successful in. And so I would just tell you, put those boundaries up. Hey, I'm done at 6 o'clock. I have an appointment at 6. The appointment could be with your toes in the pedicure bowl. Who cares? You have an appointment, right?
Yeah.
So when we start living for us and the most important people, our family, we start saying no, and we start believing that it is okay to say no. You know?
I can relate to so much of what you're saying because I used to do the same thing, or I would wake up at like 3 a.m. and I'd be like, okay, cool. Like I'm getting like 5 hours of work done before my family is up at 8 and nobody's hurt except for me. And it exhausting me, and energy is everything. And so if you're stealing, robbing from Peter to pay Paul, like it's going to catch up to you
100%.
eventually. I had a similar experience that was actually why Align even came to be with my husband and with my family. And really, I think a lot of it for me stemmed from feeling like I would never be good enough. And I had to be perfect. And I'm just wondering if maybe that's what was the undertone that was happening for you.
100%. I had married, I've been married almost 30 years to my husband, who's a saint, but I had a brief marriage to someone that I thought really loved and accepted me. And the unfortunate part of that is I came from a broken home. And so I never really felt accepted by my dad. And so then the first person who is old enough to take care of you and accept you and love you, you fall in that trap only to find out he was an addict, and a very abusive addict. And so I got out, thank God, alive. But again, back to never being enough, never being accepted, wanting to be accepted. I was not the popular girl in high school, all the things. And so mine came from, yes, not enough, but more about just fighting for acceptance of people. And, when I got into real estate, it was a man's world. It's more prominent for women now, but it was not back in the late 80s, early 90s. And so I was constantly trying to fit into the guys group. And I was constantly saying, hey, I'm worthy of you bringing me an offer on one of my listings, and I'm successful, and I'm a great negotiator, and all those things. And so mine is a big acceptance,
Yes.
And so, but that falls into people pleasing and all these other things. And so finally, in part of my therapy, which I highly recommend, I realized that, I had been accepted the day I was birthed by my Heavenly Father. And so it doesn't matter if I don't fit in that group, or people don't like me because I have blonde hair, or whatever their reason is. It doesn't control me, as long as I can look myself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm a pretty good human. I did really good today, and I took care of my family, and I didn't, lose my cool and all of these things. Then I need to be accepting of myself and my worthiness, because he accepted me first.
Amen. I feel like so many women struggle with this, and men as well, is like trying to hustle for our worth and prove that we're worthy enough, and really bending over backwards to please people. And the interesting thing is sometimes we attract people into our lives that we actually wouldn't want to have in our lives. Mm-hmm. And when we start to create boundaries, which is what I did, is I started to create limitations. And, if I had a client, reach out to me late Friday or Friday evening, I may not get back to them until Monday. And it turns out that the higher class, the better clients, the people that actually respect you and your work, they don't expect you to get back to them over the weekends. They respect the boundaries. And so talk to me a little bit about, as you shifted, because there's a lot of people listening that are so afraid to give up what they have. The clients they have, the customers they have, the neediness, the demanding, they're so afraid to give that up because maybe they don't understand there's something better on the other side. So what happened to your business as you started to take better care of yourself and love yourself and see yourself for who you really were?
So it was a big shift. The market that I worked in was primarily a first-time home buyers. And I used to say, oh my gosh, I love first-time home buyers. And I still do. God bless those folks. They put food on my table for a long time. But what I realized was I could build a team to satisfy that group, and I could move up the totem pole, if that makes sense. And so what I did was I physically moved my office to a higher per capita neighborhood and influential area in our marketplace. And so I would drive back and forth. So I would spend a day or two in my old market. So I didn't turn my back on them because I needed to continue to pay my bills. But I had to start walking towards the clients that I wanted. And so that I moved my office. And so 3 days a week, I went to the same coffee shop and I would work on my laptop there because I would see the same people coming in. Hi, what do you do? We should grab coffee. You just start having conversations. And then you get the first higher price client that you want. And you just ask them, hey, could you help me? I'm really trying to expand into this marketplace. Where do you go to meet new people? What's your best marketing tool? Or do you belong to any organizations that I should be a part of? Could I go as your guest? And you just start asking harder questions. And you know what? It's shocking when you ask questions that people say yes. Yes. And so you just have to ask, right? You have to get past the point of fearing that somebody's going to say no, because no is okay. It's a complete sentence. You just move to the next person and then the next person. And so I just put myself in that arena of where I wanted to go. And I got over in that. I spent more time in the new area than I did the old area, met more people. And then eventually I was able to hire a team to take over my older area. I still had that residual income. We all know about building residual income. And I was able to spend more time in the places that made me happy, and it brought me a lot of joy, and I made more money, and those people were so much more respectful. I'll tell you a real quick story. When Facebook came out, I'm really telling my age, but when Facebook came out, I had a team and they kept saying, let's get on social. And I've never bought a lead. So selling over 300 houses a year by 100% word of mouth. And so I just fought it. And so I had, people who were younger than me wanted to get on. So I'm like, okay, but we are going to post our hours, because there came a time in my business, I'm like, nobody's working 7 days a week. Look what it did to me. No, everybody gets a day off. We're not saving lives. We're selling houses. And yes. So they fought me. We don't want to put the hours on there. We'll lose business, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, it's my way or the highway. We're not doing it, or we're doing it my way. And so I put the hours on there. And from that year forward, I made more time. I think I made more money, and I worked less hours. I had more time in my schedule, and I made more time. And they did too. And they were like, what is happening? What is this shift? And I'm like, we elevated our game to where people wanted to work with an exclusivity team that said, hey, here are our boundaries. Mm-hmm. They only work these hours. And it's shocking when people would call you on Sunday and say, I know you don't work on Sunday. I just want to be the first one you call on Monday. Done. No problem. Right. And so you can do that if you don't post your hours on social media, or if you're in direct sales or something. And a lot of people call us all hours of the day and night. Change your voicemail every day. Yeah. Hey, this is my day of rest, reset, and relaxation with my family. I'll be returning calls Monday morning between 9 and 10. I promise you'll be first on the list. Guess what they'll do? They'll leave a message. Yes. It's our own fear of, oh my gosh, they'll go pick another salesperson, or they'll go call somebody else. My husband taught me a really valuable lesson. It's a client we never had.
If they, and it's a client you don't want to have.
Right? If they cannot leave a message and respect that I don't work 24/7, nobody, most of them aren't either, then the best way to have some boundaries is tell them I am off, it's after 6 o'clock, leave a voicemail. I'll call you back the next morning or whatever. And that was game changer for me. I had to give myself some boundaries, and then you have to stick to them.
Amen. I have so much to say here. I'm just going to pull out a couple little thoughts. I have a woman that was in my mastermind this year, Jessica Papanow, and she works very, very hard, but she's learned how to create some boundaries, and mostly because she was able to see what I did. So she might send me a message on a Friday night or a Saturday morning, and she wouldn't hear back from me until Monday. And one day I was like, I'm so sorry it took me a while to get back to you. And she's like, oh, no. You are modeling to me really great boundaries and taking care of yourself. And it's like, oh yeah, I don't even have to apologize for that. So I stopped apologizing for that. But here's what I want you to hear, which I kind of pull from what you're saying, Kendra, is that there are seasons in business and there are seasons with audiences. And it doesn't mean you're better than the audience you used to serve. But if you're not growing and evolving, you're dying, right? Tony Robbins says this, like, evolve or die. So if you're still forever and always trying to serve this same audience, that means you're also not growing. And sometimes we feel like we're betraying or we're leaving behind. It's like, no, they are going to still be serviced. They're still going to be taken care of. But your job in life, and I think what God wants of us, is to grow and to evolve. And then the other thing that you said is I love this so much because I believe this, is you have to start putting yourself in different places and spaces. If you want a different life, you want a different house, you want a different business, you want different clientele, it's not going to come from your existing Facebook audience or your existing Instagram audience. You have to change what you post. You have to change the rooms that you get into, the kinds of circles you're in, the coffee shops you frequent. Like, you have to put yourself in that space and place. And that advice that you gave is just golden, Kendra. I believe that with everything that is in me. And it's been a huge part of my journey as well, is like, I have not just stayed in the same circles of people, not because I'm better than, but I knew if I wanted to expand, I had to put myself out there.
Well, that's how I met you.
Yeah.
I got a ticket to go to an event, and I did not know a soul in the room. I didn't even know the lady hosting it, Amberly Lago, our mutual friend. I did not even know her when I signed up for the event. I had been following her, and by the grace of God, I met somebody who said, I can introduce you to her. And they said, you should go to her event. I said, I already bought a ticket. And they're like, you bought a ticket and you don't even know her? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, who are you going with? And I'm like, nobody. I'm going by myself. And then I came up and you were eating dinner. I felt horrible. I had heard you speak. I was like, I'm going to introduce myself to her. You were so inspiring and impactful for me. And so I just walked over and I said, hey, I just want to introduce myself. I'm going to send you a book. You don't know me and I don't know you, but but that is just,
I've got it over there on my shelf. I meant to grab it before we recorded.
Okay, but you know what? You didn't give me a black eye, and you didn't say go away. You stopped eating and said, sit down and let's chat for a moment. And so I think that when we can move beyond this, like it feels icky or it feels like I'm disrupting somebody. Listen, people like us want to meet people. I'm willing to take my food home in a to-go box to sit and talk to a woman who needs to be coached or catered to, or just a conversation or collaboration with. So, and I know you're that way. So for the people listening, put yourself in rooms, like buy a ticket and go. And if you're not coming to a line, you should. Like, I'm coming to Brooke's event. You should be there too.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, I've gone to a lot of events alone and gone into a lot of rooms. And then I've gone into rooms and I've brought like throngs of people with me. Anytime, for example, I go to Amberly's event, I'm like getting 10 people to come with me, because I feel like once you learn something, Denzel Washington says, reach one, teach one. So now a lot of the times when I go into the room, I'm like, I don't want to go alone, because I want to raise up the other women that are kind of growing around me. So also, ladies listening, it's like, yes, go for yourself if you have to go alone. But even better than that is, do you have sisters? Do you have friends? Do you have business partners? Do you have team members? Do you have employees? Like, who else do you want to lift up that's around you? Because as they rise, you rise. Right. And you don't always have to go and get a totally new circle. Sometimes your circle can evolve with you if you involve them with you in the process. So it was so fun. I remember that dinner and you just coming over, and I loved it. I admire the boldness. And here's the thing, the right women who are good-hearted and genuine-hearted, like you, Kendra, you appreciate that. And if you get in rooms where they're not like that, it's probably not the right room for you, because you probably had some other experiences where you've been rejected. Talk to the women about rejection and maybe experiences with rejection and how you have been able to pass through that and come out the other side stronger, better, more aligned.
Yeah. And listen, I'm very big into financial literacy, but this is an investment. Whatever room you put yourself in is an investment. And not that there's not free events out there that are great. I'm not saying that, but sometimes you're like, oh, that's expensive. It's an investment in yourself. We invest in the clothes we wear. We invest in, our attire, our makeup, our hair. I saw you were out getting makeup yesterday or the day before with your daughter, which I just thought was so sweet. But those are investments, right? Because when you feel better on the inside, you are more powerful and you exude confidence, right? And so for me, yes, when I first started speaking, I was going into real estate companies to speak for a lender who would pay me to come in so they could get more loans from those real estate agents. And I'm closing 300 plus deals a year. And there might be people in the audience closing 10 or 11. And, they would not dare ask a question. You're like, hey, does anybody have any questions? We have 10 minutes and nobody will ask a question. And I'm like, that is the craziest thing on the planet. Like if you have somebody that the whole reason I hired a coach is because they had been where I was at the time, but they had like surpassed me. And I'm like, well, I want them to take me with them. I want to go where they are. And if I can shorten the learning curve, I want to ask a million questions. And then I would get off the stage and then there would be a line. They wanted me to stay another hour when I've got to go get a plane. I'm like, why didn't you just ask me while I was on the stage? Right.
I mean, so embarrassment, ego, not wanting to look like you don't know something, right?
Answer. Listen, I am always a student. I will ask a million questions. At the event we were in, when Trent said, does anybody have questions? I was the first one out of my seat. I'm like, me, I have a question. Like, it's free advice. So for those of you that have been rejected in the past, next. I mean, it's just one of my favorite words. It used to scroll on my screensaver on my phone, NEXT. I mean, one no just hits me closer to the 10 yeses that are behind it. So I just would tell you, fuel your mind and your body to always have that confidence, even with the no's, whether that's a daily devotional. I mean, I have a perfect morning routine. I do it whether I'm on the road or I'm at home, and I can get my mind in the best space. So no can knock me down. Right.
Exactly.
So maybe if you're being challenged by somebody, pushing back on you, or you're really struggling with rejection, I would tell you to start working on the inside of yourself, because the outside of yourself will grow when the inside does. And don't be fearful of a no. There's so many more yeses out there. I mean, I left real estate at 47, walked away at the height of my career, broke every record in our board of realtors. Nobody had ever broken them. And my husband looked at me and goes, what else do you need to prove? Michael Jordan went out on top. You should go out on top. So I left that career, started completely over, building a coaching company with a company out of North Carolina. We moved across the country, didn't know anybody, spent 6 years there, flourished, had more doors shut. And then I was like, I'm going to retire. That lasted 3 weeks. And now I live in Tampa and I travel and speak at 55. Like, I'm recreating myself. So, no's are just closer to the next yes. That's just what I would tell you.
Exactly. And clarity is kindness. If someone says no, or you're talking to someone, I've been in rooms where I've been talking to someone and literally they're looking past me. Like they're looking for someone more important or somebody else I'm not offended by it, because I'm like, cool, this is clarity. Like, this is not somebody that's really going to be interested. So moving on to the next. And instead of perseverating over it or making it mean something about you, the no is actually everything about them. It's nothing about you. So I love that advice so much. So talk to me about this, because people that are listening, maybe some of them are entertaining a change, a shift, a career change, or launching their own thing. It's one of the things that I help a lot of people do, is launch, whether it's their podcast, their communities, their coaching, etc. Talk to the person that has a pretty good life like you, but they're feeling like something is missing or there's something different for them. What was it that actually really got you to have the courage to jump off that ledge and to do something completely different?
So I think it was a couple things. First and foremost, I had the financial stability to do it, right? And so that gave me a ton of confidence. But I also knew that in real estate, I had bet on myself. I started with myself, a phone book and a phone, knocking doors, setting open houses. Like, I had built that empire as a receptionist from 18 all the way to buy the company or build a company, sell it for a profit. And it was always on my shoulders and my back. So I'm like, I will always bet on myself. I'm taking myself in every situation because, I know who I am and what I stand for. So number one, I would say, bet on yourself. And if you have to stay where you are in your current role as you start to explore that, perfect. Just have some boundaries. This is my 40-hour week. This is my 10 extra hours. I'm willing to work some Saturdays and Sundays and nights to bet on myself, to know that the future is so bright in this new arena. And so you may have to pull a little double duty. I did. I coached while I was building my real estate business, but it gave me so much clarity and so much experience to when I stepped into that role full time. I knew how to unleash it, balls and guns ablazing, right? Like I was ready to go. So bet on yourself. You might have to do a little double duty. I would tell you, put a little nest egg back so you got some financial situation security, because that's usually the number one reason to hold us back.
100%. Yeah.
Fear, those are the things that hold most people back.
Yes.
And I will tell you, listen, I use this analogy a lot. If you were a barista in college and you're like, I want to own a coffee shop, and you're the best dadgum barista, open that coffee shop and get somebody to build the back end of your business, right? That can do the financials, that can order the supplies. You don't have to do everything when you take that leap into that business. And we get so much in our minds of it's all on me. It has to be me. They only want to work with me. That's so ego driven. I was that person for so many years that I could not keep help because I was like, they only want to talk to me. I have to talk to everybody. I have to answer the phone. That's not true. You can outsource so many things, AI, virtual assistants, all of those things to get you to where you want to go. But at the end of the day, bet on yourself. If it is your passion and it drives you and it gives you energy, do not blow that candle out. Do not dampen that flame. Let it burn. Go, go, go. That's what I would say.
Go for it. And especially in this day and age, like you mentioned, there are so many tools that are free, so many AI tools and things that make it actually, I think in many ways, easier to just go for it and launch without as big of a financial commitment, right? And if you don't have the finances, find a way, right? There are so many different ways to make money. There's got to be some kind of way you could get that seed money to do the thing that you want to do. And if you don't have the money, you can start by building community. You can start by showing up more actively on social media as you build a community, then launching your offers. Don't wait until things get better. Start to take the action now.
100%.
So talk to us about your book. Then you're like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to be a published author. And I'm so excited we're going to be featuring you at Align as one of our incredible authors. But talk to us about what prompted that, because to write a book is a major undertaking.
It is. And I know from listening to one of these podcasts this morning, you're in the process of writing yours. So for me, when I left the coaching business and we moved to Tampa, I told my family, I'm going to take a gap year. I'm just going to retire for a year and, I'm going to figure it out. And that lasted 3 weeks. And I was like, I'm going to write a book. So I could not retire. So, but for me, I always knew there was a book inside of me, but I've been journaling for years through my divorce. Anytime there's a split relationship, you never know who's on whose side. And I just found myself, there was always drama. And I was like, you know what? I can't trust anyone. So I'm going to start trusting myself. And so journaling became my safe space. And there was no judgment there. I could cry, I could vent, I could pray, I could cuss, I could do whatever I needed to do. And there was zero judgment. Nobody ever read them. And it just became part of my daily life. And I had a very tough pregnancy. And, my husband and I have been married almost 30 years. We've had financial trouble. I mean, all the things that you can imagine that we go through in life. And I've just always been able to journal about it. And it's been really my safe space. And so when I wrote the book, I went back through a lot of my journals and I came up with all of the chapter titles on journal entries. And I was like, okay, this is how I'm going to write my book. And then as I got into writing, I hired somebody to help me self-publish it. And she said, you're so passionate about these journal entries. Why don't you marry your passion of journal with your memoir? And so that's exactly what I did. So I am very raw and real and vulnerable on stage and in the book. And as I shared my story at the end of each chapter, I gave 3 or 4 journaling prompts of giving the reader the opportunity to maybe start journaling or to open it up. People ask me all the time, I wish I could journal. I'm like, you can just say, I'm going to have a great day. I slept great. My hair looks great. I mean, that's how journaling started for me, just celebrating some mini wins for me. And then it becomes bigger. And some days that's all I can get out. If I only have 15 minutes, I still got to get something on paper. It can be simple. And then there'll be other days that you're like, it just pours and it just comes. But I learned that it very much helped me stay focused in some of the hardest times. It was a safe space for me. It just gave me an outlet. And so so the book is my memoir. And it gives you the journaling opportunities at the end of each chapter if you so choose to open up that part of you if you haven't done it in the past.
I love this so much because I also love writing and I love journal prompts. And it's like, we're so alike in that way. It's like when I write something, then I also want to give some questions and prompts. And it's probably also the coach in you, right?
Right.
It's like, we don't want to just talk and like, here's my story. We want to really get you thinking. And so it's an excellent book to really get you thinking. And the more you write down and you get this stuff out of your head, the more clear you get on your future, where you want to go, what you want to do. So, Kendra, how can people get connected to you, to all the things that you're doing? What's the best place to connect with you?
Everything is just my name, Kendra Cook with an E. So it's COOKE. So website, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the things right there together.
Beautiful. And you're doing retreats as well. I saw just recently you did a retreat. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Again, a dream come true for me. When I first started trying to find spaces after I left real estate, I had a hard time finding to connect with my people, like our people, right? And so I had a few girlfriends come to Tampa and I'm like, I think I want to do this. What do you guys think? And so I wined them and dined them and they're like, yes, yes, yes. And so that was in 2024. And so we have one coming up in March. I rent a huge house in a gated community in Orlando, and we do yoga and breakout sessions. We take our makeup off and we put on leggings and shorts and we take walks. And it's just a really great place for women to rest, reset. We do a lot of journaling there, a lot of pain shared, a lot of healing. And it's just been great. And then I'm doing that one in Orlando. And then I have one coming up in Spain. We're going to go abroad and do Spain in October. So very exciting.
Amazing. I'm such an advocate for women building spaces and communities and retreats. And listen, for those of you listening, there's enough room for everyone.
Absolutely.
So, you're going to see women doing this and you're going to be tempted to be like, oh, there's no space for me. So-and-so is already doing it. They're not doing it in the way that you would do it. And we all are women of influence, and we have influence in different containers and different networks. And so, I think Kendra would agree with me on this, is like, whatever passion or dream you have in your heart, it will never leave you. It is going to stay there, and it is either going to become your greatest joy or your biggest regret because you didn't do it. And so make 2026 the year that you make bold moves. And if you want to be with us in the room at Align, you want to have these high level conversations with women who not only talk the talk, because there's so much of that, to be honest, but women who have walked the walk. They have created the success. They have made the leap. They have done the hard things. Like, this is a room where you can get up close and personal and learn from women who are in it, doing it right alongside you, who had messy starts like Kendra and figured it out. And that, to me, becomes a time collapse. I think you would agree with that. Is like, it's a time collapse, really. Yes. So it's going to be amazing to be there with you and to have you be a part of it. And I'm so excited for everyone to meet you in that room, because you're a phenomenal example of a woman who is honest about what it looks like. And that's what I'm attracted to as well. Like, tell me the truth. What does it actually look like? And that's what you do. So as we get ready to close this out, I would love to ask you this question that I ask everyone. And it is about living a revolutionary life. I believe that we are called to live incredible lives, to have an amazing adventure, and to do something extraordinary with our life. And so to you, Kendra, what does it mean to live a revolutionary life?
Well, that's a great question. I'm going to tie it to my book. So embracing change instead of fearing it, right? My book is called Embrace, Empower, Involve. So embrace the change instead of fearing it. I would say empowering growth, but with boundaries. It's okay to grow and set your own rules and relationships the way you want it to be. And then I would say, and evolve into your true self, which for me, true self is clarity and confidence and purpose, and really just walking my walk and talking my talk. But the last piece of that would be to live a legacy that I'm feel as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. Just being honest and real and being at peace on the inside and the outside with who I am created to be.
Amen. I really feel like that is revolutionary in today's world, where so much it can be fake, or forward facing, but to be able to feel at home with who you are online and offline is truly revolutionary. So I love this so much. I've enjoyed this conversation, and we were glad to share it with everyone listening in today. We hope we'll get to see you in January. And Kendra, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you, Brooke. See you soon.
Thanks for listening in today. This show exists to help you shift your perspective, open up your heart, and live, lead, and create a revolutionary life. If you loved today's episode, leave us a review, rate, and subscribe. And while you're at it, tag me on social at Hemingway Half Dozen as you share this episode with anyone you know that is ready to step into more. Until next time, go out there and be the revolution.